Here we are once again on Infinity Island, this time with Lictor as the yellow allies, and as the blue Soviets we do have Tingu. So Tingu, a pretty good player, and Lictor, also a pretty good player, which you know what that means when we usually have two pretty good players? It means a pretty good match, but going for kind of an unusual reactor placement. This is actually really far forward, which of course makes it more susceptible to any attacks, but also, you know, if you get rushed from behind by maybe some assault destroyers, then it will be a little bit easier. But throwing down the walls around that power plant, and then most likely going to be going for that refinery, and then maybe a war factory before the second refinery, but more likely dual refinery out of both of these players is what you would expect to see, which is exactly what Tingu is going for. And now we're going to be seeing some infantry wars, which actually Tingu surprisingly didn't go for any bears. Normally you see one or two bears before engineer, but instead going for, or at least, you know, the one attack dog like what Lictor did, but Lictor going to be going for that single attack dog. May be able to hold off these conscripts if he's paying attention, but it does look like both of these players have grabbed their oil derrick and sending a dog around, which normally you see a dog or a bear head around the north and then south points of this island to scout the opposing team. Which scouting is, of course, very important. As we all know, scouting can be the difference between a win and a loss. Almost always is. But throwing down those walls with enough space to place a power plant and be able to protect that just a little bit more. Dual refineries for both of these players. And no, he's not even going to throw down the walls just for defense. Tingu is instead just going to be going for that war factory, but yeah, no walls. He's got no fear of terror drones, but some players decide to throw them down anyways, just for that added defense. And you know, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. This time we won't know because no walls. But Lictor is now not going to be doing anything because we are talking about Tingu, who's getting down that super reactor, and he's probably just going to try and hold the line until he can get out some hammer tanks and maybe some sickles so that he can push out with a well-balanced, dietary important strike force, a balanced dietary strike force, because he is, of course, on the Jenny Craig no Navy diet, which is a thing. And actually, you taking all three of those bombs to take out that bear, which means he does have that advanced aeronautics upgrade, which means no spy drones, which is almost one of the most worthless beginning upgrades. I don't want to say the most worthless because, you know, arguments could be weighed either way, but for instant effect, of course, the advanced aeronautics and the high technology upgrades are the best, but Cryocopter Vindicator combo, you can take out three things if you micro properly, but going to be immediately shrinking one of those bullfrogs and then freezing the other one. One does go down, and he might try to, no, he's going to be running away, as that one bullfrog was able to escape. So actually shrinking it down, not necessarily the best choice, but two bullfrogs are going to be standing watch here, which you do need, I believe. At least if you don't micro super well, you need at least two Vindicators per bullfrog to take them down. It is 4 to 6 bombs, I don't remember exactly, but shrinking down his MCV, Lictor does to move it up here and set up his expansion, which is fairly common as that is an easy to secure base. And that dog decided to scare the terror drone because robots don't like dogs. No, of course, just going to be throwing down that bark just for the heck of it, and Tingu is now going to be expanding to the water instead, because that's a pretty easy to secure expansion as well, and talking is difficult, so I don't do it very much. But we do have Lictor almost ready to throw down his refinery, which will give him a very slight edge over Tingu, as he will have that third ref up a little bit longer, and just now it should be going down, but he is going to be moving over here, and he is going to be moving into this building, which, look at that, Tingu already switching over to those Molotov cocktails, and it is going to be cleaning out that building, I'm assuming, yes, doing a little bit of damage, killing those units inside, which immediately re-garrisoned, and then he does evacuate there, but Lictor going to be throwing down that ref, and no walls just yet, but we do have twin blades, which that's what that super reactor is for, and not 4 hammer tanks, like I said, but Those Peacekeepers are going to be going for the conscripts. Shouldn't be using the Molotov cocktails, but it doesn't really matter because he made it out all right. Might want to clear out that building just to eliminate it and stop it from doing any sort of sneaky damage to that oil derrick, as it is annoying to lose that oil derrick, but caught between a rock and a hard place, because if you garrison in the building, Molotov cocktails. If you don't, you got a sickle. So now we do have 2 MiGs here, which will be able to deal with much of the, anti-air capabilities of the Allies, as he did see that Vindicator, which means he knows that at most, unless the Vindicator got sacked at some point, which it hasn't, at most that there would be 3 Apollos out, and that is quite the investment for only, basically taking out a twin blade. But one Apollo is going to be going out, and it will be able to get not micro down, but focus fire down by those 2 MiGs if he's paying attention, which Lictor is paying attention, so he was able to save that. Tingu was paying attention, so he was able to do a little bit of damage. But this is the same Apollo, trying to draw the MiGs into the line of fire of those javelins, but Tingu was not going to fall for it. Lictor, on the other hand, is going to be taking a little bit of damage here and he might get the Cryocopter, which would be a nice small victory, but he's taken quite a bit of damage to that ore refinery, to that ore collector is what I mean to say. But the Apollo is going to be pulling back, and that twin blade barely escapes with just a shot or 2 left, and that will be it there. Those 2 shots from that javelin able to get him to that 2 chevron heroic status, and now the MiG's taking a couple of extra hits. One of them does go down, so 2 unintentional kills from Lictor. Well, the one was intentional, but this one just kind of got caught by that base defense, so good placement from Lictor right there. And 3 Bullfrogs are going to be moving to the mid-ground, which, he already spent the money on those, so might as well move them forward, but this does leave him a little bit vulnerable. Now he's got the MiGs in position to defend, but the Apollo is going to be moving out, which Lictor needs to make sure that he's watching this Apollo, because these 2 MiGs will, of course, be able to take out that single Apollo. It looks like he's just going for some scouting. He will be able to see not a whole lot, as he did not fly over far enough to see the main base or the MCV setting up that 3rd base. But now Tingu, if he can hold on to this 4th base, he will be that 4th ref. He will be ahead eventually. He will have to make up for the slight difference, as this 3rd base has been held a little bit longer than Tingu's, but it's not that big of a deal, especially with hammer tanks out of the field, and still not even a war factory out for Lictor, although he does have a base defense sitting at the ready, so he can throw it down anywhere he needs. And as you can see, so he threw it down at the front, but he's got, javelins over here, so he's doing all right for, harvester harassment versus twin blades, but not very good versus the, hey, hammer tank is heading to your main when you really need as much firepower as you can muster at the front of your base. But it does look like this multi-gunner turret is going to get a couple of free shots off on that sickle, and now the Cryocopter is going to be able to shrink down that hammer tank, which of course makes their attack range a little bit less, which, the leech beam would be able to outrange that multi-gunner turret, but not when shrunk. So now a twin blade is going to be moving in from the top, may be able to do a little bit of harassment, but with these javelin troopers here all ready and waiting just for a prime target such as a twin blade. And what is he going to be throwing down in there? A terror drone, and then he throws down that cash bounty, so he does get the cash back on that twin blade, which, always nice, because you don't normally get the cash back on those air units as they are in the air. But it does look like he is going to be freezing that unit. And the twin blade, and the splash damage on that refinery is not good, but the terror drone did go down, which is always nice. Not so sure if that was worth it, but that is what happened. And it does look like Tingu is going to be doing some preemptive damage to the civilian structure. Just, for the heck of it, might as well do some damage if you don't plan on garrisoning it yourself. Those, of course, can be nice if you throw a couple of javelins in there. Most players don't bother doing that because, that's 3 javelins that could be out killing something versus stuck in that structure. But the sickle is going to try and hunt down these javelins, but the MiGs are going to be here to counter the Cryocopters, and if they get stacked up, those Cryocopters just barely managing to escape, and another MiG goes down, which means that Lictor is going to be favored in that engagement, if ever so slightly, trying to freeze that sickle. Wasn't quite able to get it, did get chased away by the Bullfrogs there, and now with the War Factory finally going up and that tier 2 upgrade, so now Guardian tanks are out, but hammer tanks are in superior numbers and the tougher tank. But if Lictor can force the engagement on his turf, he will have the defender's advantage, and he may be able to bring out the win in this battle with some good micro. But we do have quite a force out of Tingu. He does have quite a force here. You've got a good mix of units, a well-balanced strike force. We've got anti-infantry, anti-tank. We do have the infantry, the Tesla troopers, able to lock down tanks with their secondary ability. And then we do, of course, have the bullfrogs for the anti-air. Not that there's much aircraft going for Lictor. He does have a couple of those cryocopters, which are super annoying. Throwing down a couple of conscripts just to try and focus down. Oh, he is going to try and garrison the building. They could use their laser lock ability and shoot that down, which they are going to. But he's just trying to clear out these, 3 javelin soldiers. And actually, what a good move by Tingu. You saw what happened. He garrisoned the building. They tried to laser lock on it. And then once they started firing, he exited the building. They were still firing on that building. And then he was able to get close and personal. And then he got frozen, so, Mr. Freezing actually freezing up a couple of Riptides, possibly going to be filling them, or actually having already filled them with, I'm guessing, Javelin soldiers, as that would be unusual to see engineers, but he needs to make sure that these things are always on the move so that he makes adequate use of that speed boost that they gained for that short time. And now the Riptides are going to be heading out, which the Riptides may just be going for that ref, but on the other hand, this is Scouting Dog. But on the other hand, they might be full of Javelin soldiers to go for, one of these refs, and we are up to tier 3 all the way for Tingu, which will give him an advantage in this situation. He will be able to bombard that multi-gunner turret from afar, and it does look like we have a couple of Riptides. This Riptide is going to be going over here, and will he get the freeze? He might get the freeze, yeah, with that cryo shot. And it doesn't matter, these, MiGs are going to be completely useless in this situation. Apollo is going to be heading home. He was able to snipe that Harvester, which that is going to be 1,400 credits down the drain for Tingu, which just got to double check that price tag, because yes, 1,400, 1,600 in Kane's Wrath. Been playing a little bit too much of that lately, but we do have 1,400 credits down the drain, and also this one will be 2,800 credits plus that lost mining time for Tingu, which will be annoying, but he is ahead in the tech, and he also has Kirovs and V4s, which are of course always nice to have. But can Lictor manage to get out the micro to lick this attack force and defeat it in a straight up battle? Well, we will see. Oh, doing the smart thing, launching the V4. Is he using that secondary ability? Yes, he is, to do that kind of splash damage, which will do a little bit of damage. Actually, largely missing there, doing almost no damage. I think a direct hit would have been a little bit better, but that V4 did get shrunk down, making it far less effective. But he did switch from that full missile from the precision warheads to that kind of rain of fire, as you saw. Now he is going to be going for that ore refinery, which means back on 3 base for Tingu, although he has been on 4 base for quite a while. One hammer tank does go down quite quickly, but this Kirov is not able to hit a whole lot because Lictor was paying attention. He's like, hey, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of the range of this Kirov. And actually, the Kirov might actually have just taken out a sickle, and one of the 2 hammer tanks do get frozen, and this battle is getting absolutely spread out everywhere, and the MiGs are just here to clean up. The Cryocopter's able to take down 1 or 2, and these flak troopers will be able to eliminate this hammer tank unless it runs them over, but no, it is going to be retreating, taking damage to that rear armor. But what does he have to do to deal with this Kirov? Not a whole lot. Well, he does have this Apollo fighter, which is going to be his saving grace, and actually this Guardian tank, which these flak troopers need to be doing something, and this Guardian tank may be able to clean up both of these bullfrogs before they clean up the Apollo, and it's going to be able to take out this Kirov. Is taking a lot of damage. He will be able to take out that one single multi-gunner turret, but then can he get the barracks? Because this Kirov hasn't really paid for himself. Kirovs are quite expensive. He is able to get that barracks, but nothing else, and actually giving the veterancy that heroic status to that Javelin, which means he will be able to do a little bit more damage. One of those 2 conscripts may go down here, and then the Tesla troopers and flak troopers are going to have to steal the damage. But now we do have a multi-gunner IFV out of Lictor, which Lictor actually getting his Riptides cleaned up a little bit, and he does not want to be engaging those Tesla troopers, as Kiwi is like, hey, I'll just, not Kiwi, Tingu is like, hey, I'll just, run in there and use my secondary ability to eliminate that, well, to lock down that Guardian tank, but not able to do it, and using the cryo shot just to drive him back, as that was placed a little bit further forward, hoping that his opponent would walk into it, but Tingu was not going to fall for that, and he does fall back, which, it does give a little bit of time for Lictor to make something happen, gather his forces, get some more peacekeepers maybe to deal with these troopers, these flak troopers, and the bears are going to be cleaning up the javelin troopers for Lictor, and Lictor throwing down the base defense, and it is going to be enough to drive Tingu back, but Tingu got cleaned up, his riptides were eliminated, and now he is back up to that 2 and 3 harvesters with that crane, as Lictor is as well, but now Twin Blades are going to be able to rain fire down on these harvesters whenever they feel like it, and this Apollo is going to be able to chase these Twin Blades away, but the MiG is going to be able to show up, and can they do the damage necessary? Yes, they will get that Apollo, just barely able to get that heroic status, but a Twin Blade for an Apollo, an interesting exchange. Was it worth it? Because, those Twin Blades are 1,200 credits, and the Apollos, I'm not sure about their price, about the same, but, building a second Prospector may be able to just bug through those walls, or may just go through the ore mine itself, but this is going to slow down. Yes, he is going to be getting out of there, getting out of this Prospector's way, and maybe setting up an expansion somewhere. Would be kind of silly to set it up there, but Natasha is out, which Natasha will be able to outrange these defenses, throwing in a multi-gunner or a peacekeeper into that turret. But the MiGs are here, and that the V4 is going to be able to do some damage to that ore refinery, but the MiGs are going to get chased away. One does go down, as these Javelin soldiers are quite good, and the V4 will most likely get frozen and eliminated basically immediately. Nope, not going to get eliminated, and actually not actually hitting with those Javelin rockets. But that's okay, because now the V4 will get taken out, does get frozen there, and the hitbox is all messed up for that V4, and now as it resizes, it is going to go down, and another V4 is out. So Tingu putting quite a bit of money into this high-tech attack force. Not a whole lot of money, but, he did have the Kirov, and he probably did sell off his MCV, which is why he's got that crane. Yes, he did sell off his MCV for that boost of money, and the V4 is now going to be firing, and at that war factory, the perfect timing! I bet Lictor is mad about that. He finally gets his Mirage tank out, and then it just gets eliminated, which he does have another one, and it immediately gets locked down by that Terror drone. So frustrating, and was able to freeze Natasha, which will at least keep her quiet for a little bit, but then the Mirage tank was able to force into the disguise mode, able to eliminate Natasha. Needs to make sure that he doesn't walk into his own cryo shot, because that would be quite annoying, and this Mirage tank is going to be pushing forward, getting locked down again, and then disguising itself as a tree, which if he just, force fires the V4 on it, boom! One shot. So that V4 is like the hero V4 in this game, because got the random one shot of that Mirage tank, basically lucky. I don't think Tingu could have planned that out if he wanted to, and then was able to get the force fire kill on that second Mirage tank. So Tingu doing quite well, Lictor doing pretty well as well, able to do some harassment and not throwing down the refinery just yet. He needs to make sure that he does that so that he stays on top of his economy. Needless to say, he's a little bit distracted with what's going on up here, but Tingu needs to make sure that he is doing the damage and taking those expansions, and Lictor trying to shrink down that V4 so that he can get it into a vulnerable position, and Athena cannons are an appropriate choice, especially with that shrunk down V4. The Athena cannon will be able to outrange this army and possibly do some damage, or at least drive them back to the main base, or to the expansion, I should say. Maybe take out this barracks, which would be a minor victory. Would be nice to take that down, eliminate any quick infantry reinforcements, as we did see those, flak troopers, which got massed up in that first engagement that we saw, were able to take down the Guardian tank and then push forward and allow Tingu to do better than he would have done otherwise. But yes, this is just a, delivery truck sitting here, and actually going to be doing a little bit of damage to that civilian structure, just a little bit, just to, kick those units out of there. That single conscript, which was just occupying it for the heck of it. He just wanted to watch some TV, and, you know, he's tired. Conscripts, they never catch a break. They're just always out running around with their AK-47s, and you know that they don't get benefits. And now 2 Athena cannons are out, which means that they will be able to eliminate that barracks quite easily, basically one-shotting it. One shot from each of them, and this Kirov could be absolutely devastating. A couple of rockets do get off, but they do barely any damage. And that Kirov is getting repaired ever so slightly, and now going to be pushing forward because he needs to protect this Kirov so that it can do the damage. The bears in the getting launched out of the Bullfrog are not going to be able to do anything as they do get locked down. One does try to use that the amplified roar, and then the other one does get frozen right away, and this one needs to get frozen as well. Does get frozen, and that Athena cannon doing a little bit of a dance, as you may have saw right over here, before getting shrunk down and able to escape because that terror drone was locking it down. And now we're at another little bit of a stalemate. And is that Apollo still around? No, Apollo is not around, which means these IFVs are going to be instrumental. Loading them up with those javelin troopers for those extra rockets, which of course not going to want to be doing that if you're engaging an army, as you will lose those units very quickly. But then look how much damage they're actually able to do versus those Kirovs. And there's the Apollo. It's back now, and the Kirov is going to be dropping some bombs trying to hit this force, but and the V4 is not able to hit anything, but the Twin Blades are going to be coming in because the IFVs are distracted. They will be able to take out the infantry a little bit quicker, but the Kirov does go down, gets off 1 bomb, but the body will be enough to take out, was able to get off 2 bombs, and the body will be able to take out that refinery. Not able to damage the Prospector, which means you should just sell off this command hub out there and then use this Prospector to do something. I don't know what. He could set it up into a command, sell it off. Might actually be worth it to rebuild that refinery and then get off that last load of ore. But we do have 4 base for each of these players, or rather 4 refineries for each of these players, and reaching almost a critical mass of Twin Blades. 6 is quite a few. You can do a lot of damage with 6. Would be nice to see something more like 8, because you can just almost one-shot a number of buildings that way. And the refinery, oh no! Where's the MCV? Okay, so refinery is going to be built up there, and then redeploying that command hub so that he can just get that money, but wasn't able to get that last load of ore taken care of. And my voice is dying. My throat completely drying up there, and we do have the Twin Blades. As you can see, they do quite a bit of damage, almost able to one-shot the oil derrick with when you count the rockets. 1 barrage of rockets from those 6 Twin Blades was able to do the damage with a couple of those machine guns firing, and the Athena cannon shield, I forget the name of that shield, it's kind of hard to pronounce, but the Athena cannon Aegis shield, it is Aegis, going to be able to protect that Athena cannon from what? The, oil derrick exploding. And this delivery truck is back. It is the bravest donut delivery truck, which actually, if you look at that, like, I swear the javelin trooper is taller than the box part of that box van, and not able to get that one single Bullfrog is what it's called. You'd think I'd know these things, but the Mirage tank is going to be able to take out a couple of these infantry before getting totally eliminated, and the Aegis shield is going to be able to protect these units just a little bit, taking quite a bit of damage, doing damage to the infantry, not necessarily what you want to be doing, well, not the conscripts anyways. Taking out the Tesla troopers or the flak troopers isn't an awful choice, but of course you want to be going for those V4s, and this V4 is not going to be doing anything, and this Kirov airship, man, my body is doing things, and it's not good. Preventing me from speaking, and preventing you from hearing the sultry sound of my voice as I talk about this game. Anyways, this Kirov is going to be right here kind of undefended, but as this army moves back forward, Natasha is back in the mix, and this game is just being dragged out forever as neither of these players want to decisively engage, because who wants to just rush into a battle and then, you know, just get crushed possibly, although that would make for a little bit more of an exciting game. Throwing down the cryo shot, forcing the split up of these units, and neither of the V4s do go down. Never mind, that one does go down, and this Kirov is able to take out one Peacekeeper and then ravaging the body of that Peacekeeper, causing it to twig, and then stopping and taking so much damage. This Kirov will likely be able to do absolutely nothing, but that was an excellent V4 hit, actually able to do a significant amount of damage. There the Kirov goes down and actually almost able to do some damage to Tingu's units, but now Tingu is going to be falling back, getting pushed back by Lictor, and that Kirov not able to do any damage with its dying body. That wire, that shell of a Kirov, a shell of its former self. Ha ha ha! Ah, that was bad. Anyways, Lictor should just push forward here, because even if, you know, he's not going to be favored in the engagement necessarily, it would be an exciting battle. Which, you know, that's probably the worst reason to engage. And Dreadnought and her crew are ready to do some long-range bombardment, which means this base is extremely susceptible to that Dreadnought, as there are no Vindicators, and there's currently no naval yard, and also, as I spoke about before, no Assault Destroyer. Dreadnought, what are you doing? Tingu, get on it! Get on it! Tingu, launch this Dreadnought into the miry depths of over here and do some damage. Come on, you've got the huge advantage, you've got the perfect opportunity. The most that can happen is cryocopters, which is what the MiGs are for, instead of waiting for this ground engagement. And the V4 rockets, are all three of these going to be those split heads? Yes. And we did see actually one good split head hit, and, you know, they're making fancy craters on the ground and nice colorful explosions, but one good hit over here eliminated, like, I think a Mirage Cannon or an IFV or something. And yes, this is what we need to be seeing, able to take out that War Factory in the next volley, and then probably wants to go for that refinery, cut off the economy, although he might go for the... Oh, and the army getting split up for Lictor, and actually those V4s able to do a little bit of damage to the infantry. He's trying to go for Natasha, and Natasha not able to get that bomber down on that Mirage tank, and the Mirage tank will probably get eliminated anyways. No, was not able to get eliminated by that Tesla trooper, and now the War Factory is down. Barracks is going to go down as well, which means no reinforcements for Lictor, which means he needs to end it here, and using the V4s not very effectively, slightly effectively, but those, oh, that rain of fire was good, and the Aegis shield goes down. These Athena cannons are now basically undefended, and this Mirage tank not going to be doing a whole lot, as the pilot may have just gotten sniped out of there. Yeah, got sniped out by Natasha before she got eliminated, and now I thought that it was going to heavily favor the Twin Blades of Tingu, but not quite, and sacking those two Bullfrogs, going to be taking out the barracks, so going hit for hit with Tingu, and Tingu has been defeated. Lictor able to bring out the win despite the fact that he was getting long-range bombarded. He had the superior ground army, and actually, as you can see, those cryocopters were able to freeze that Dreadnought. I'm actually not sure what happened because I wasn't watching that, but Lictor right away, unit kill to death ratio, winning in that category. And now let's take a look at those resources. As you can see, Tingu actually leading, despite what I said. I think Lictor actually got his third base up slightly sooner than Tingu, but Tingu able to come out ahead in that harvester harassment, I guess. Actually able to get a significant advantage over Lictor, but quite an exciting game, quite a long game, as we did actually, that was nowhere near as long as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were pushing towards the 30-minute mark, but only the 20-minute mark, which means this game actually may be closer to 30 minutes, as Fraps does lag just a little bit there. But a pretty exciting game, no huge battles until right at the end there, as Lictor just pushed forward and slammed through Tingu's defenses and was able to take that win. home to his heart. And Lictor, H2O Lictor, able to bring out the win. So GG to these players. The Sybert signing out.